father, Benjamin Schneider, came to this country in 1923. He came to Detroit, and together with two of his brothers, he established a dry goods business. Eventually, he found my mom, they got married, they raised 4 sons. And he asked each one of us, would we consider going into the family business? But none of us wanted to sell draperies for a living. One time, my father and I were in a car. We were coming from Brandeis to Detroit. It was the summer of between my junior and senior year at college. And once again, he asked me, he said, Paul, it's such a good business. Why don't you try it this summer? Why don't you work for me? And I agreed. And so I went to work in Hamtramck, Michigan, at Three Brothers Drapery Shop. I would straighten the stock, and I would take drapery pins. And I would use the drapery pins, put them into the curtains, into the draperies. And sometimes, when they were short-staffed, I would even work the cash register. Well, one day, my father came into the store. He was generally out selling. He was an excellent salesman. But one day, he came into the store, and he came over to me. He said, Paul, isn't this a wonderful business? There's all repeat customers. I don't even have to advertise. Don't you think it would be a good idea for you to come into the business, and when I retire, you'll take it over, you'll always make a good living? And I said to my dad, Dad, I don't enjoy this kind of work. And he said to me, Paul, who said that you have to enjoy your work? One time, a man came into the store. He asked for a handout. It was apparent he was drunk. I was up on a ladder. My dad happened to be in the store at that time, and the man walked over to my father, and my father talked to him for a few minutes, and then my father walked him out to Joseph Campbell, the main street. A few minutes later, Dad returned to the store, and I came down off the ladder, and I said to him, what was that all about? And he said, Paul, let me take you outside. I want to show you something. And we went out to Joseph Campbell. That's the main thoroughfare in Hamtramck, Michigan. And he said, Paul, do you see there are bars all over, across the street, to the right, to the left? Had I given the man some money, he would have bought a drink. Instead, do you see Irving's restaurant over there? I said, yes, Dad, I see Irving's. He said, whenever somebody comes to me and I see that they want money for food, I have an arrangement with Irving. I send them to Irving, and whenever anyone comes into Irving's and says, Mr. Benny sent me, well, he would get a bowl of soup and a baguette and a cup of coffee, a lot of food. It would last them a long, long time. And I said, Dad, that's magnificent. How long have you been doing that? And he answered me, 20, 25 years. I said, how come I didn't know? Does Mom know? Did my brothers know? Does anybody know? He says, why should anybody know? And he turned around and he went back into the store. My father of blessed memory passed away in 1993. And I remember him for many things. I remember his love of education, his love of his family, his dedication to his work. But I never felt closer to my father than that moment on Joseph Campbell, when I realized when he's a Baal Tzedakah, that he's a generous man, that for years and years he was feeding hungry people, and nobody knew. Nobody knew. What a very beautiful gift my father gave to me that day. What a wonderful, wonderful memory I have of my dad.